My name's Ngudo Kenny Robert, and first allow me to put off this a bit. And I'm the director, Victorian High School, Entebbe. I'm also the chairman, Covid-19 Victims and Survivors Association, an association that brings together all people that were directly affected by the Covid-19 pandemic. Of course, it is quite a very big group of people because according to our current records, which I think even the number is quite still minimal, we have over 900 people that we've already registered within our association. So we bring together ideas, we bring together stories, we bring together testimonies of what we went through during this time. Okay? So we formed this organization because we felt there are some stories about us that are not out there that people don't actually know. Being a victim of COVID-19 is a very hard bit to deal with, because I think we had the worst moments as a country. We had the worst moments as a particular generation, and we had the worst moments as the unit of the world. So it is not something we talk about lightly. It is not something we look at as something that just came and passed, so we have to forget about it. It is something that still lives with us. It is something that affected us badly. It is something that will continue affecting us. So if we are in this phase where we think COVID has gone down a bit, and we think since we're in this phase now we should forget about it, I would really say it is a really very bad idea. So that is why we came up with this association, to let everybody know what we actually went through and to put that information out there to tell everybody that COVID was real and is still real, and we all have to be very conscious about what we are doing. In Entebbe, we've organized this event for a week-long program to commemorate the people we actually lost during the lockdown and the people we are still losing due to COVID-19, and also to appreciate, the people that stood there for us during these times that were really very hard for us, and people that still continue to stand in for the people that are actually still sick and are being affected by COVID-19. When you talk about the victims, you can't just mention how many. There are people that lost jobs, there are people that lost businesses, there are teachers that were directly affected, not working for 2 years. There are people that actually starved within this time. There are people that had a host of issues. But still, there are people out there that stood in for people that were actually directly affected. You remember in the early days, the campaigns we did as a country to help out people that were actually not doing well in terms of food, the campaigns we did for masks, the campaigns we did for everything, the logistics the president did and everything else. That bit brought us together as a country. So I don't see any reason why, if in those hard times we all came together, but then in the times after this thing has affected us so badly, we all live our own lives. So that is why we came together and said, come on, it hit us all. So let's come together within this week and live that moment that we lived then, where we work together as a community to see that we uplift everybody. We all have our own stories, and our stories are just terrible stories. My story is I lost 2 people within a space of 1 week. My brother was in his operations in Gulu, where he went for a COVID test, and they realized he was actually positive. So he was admitted in the Gulu main hospital for a while, but since he was there alone, they decided to tell us, come on, you can transfer him to Entebbe. And when he actually got to Entebbe, grade B was full. So they told us to self-isolate him. I had to personally put him in my office. That is where I treated him from. I was scared of putting him at home because I was 100% sure the entire family is going to be affected. He had just had a baby girl. So I looked at all of this and I was like, come on, it would be safer to put him in my office. I have an office in school and school was closed then. So we isolated him and every operation was done within my office. Incidentally, after a few days, we couldn't just handle him. So on the last day when he actually passed away, we looked for all means of taking him to hospital and we couldn't get a single ambulance. The ambulance we got at Grade B, the hospital was so full that they couldn't let in any other people. It had 2 victims. One of them passed on while they were even still in parking. So all hopes of getting an ambulance just died out. And meanwhile, all this was going on phone. This gentleman was hearing every single story. And his words were like, can't you just get me oxygen at least for this last time so that I see how I can survive through this? But even with the money we had, we managed to collect 4.5 million to buy oxygen. Even with our money, we actually failed to get a cylinder of oxygen. So after several hours of trying every angle, this gentleman just gave in and passed on. 3 days after, the pressure for my mom went high because he had just lost a son. So we thought we should be taking him for medication and see how best we can handle his pressure. We went to the hospital where his doctor was. Incidentally, we failed to see the doctor because they said if she's at that level of needing oxygen, it's going to be hard. So definitely they sent us to the main hospital in Mulago to see if she can be tested and treated. And definitely when they checked, she had some mild COVID in her. So they had to admit her. But unfortunately, 2 days after, she also passed on. So within a space of 4 days, we lost 2 people. Now, it all came back to us that the entire family got sick again. We went into a phase of depression. We went into a phase that tortured us as a family. We went into a phase that will actually never live our lives. We buried our loved ones as a fraction of a family. Not all of us even managed to go and bury them. The manner in which we buried them is one I wouldn't wish to see my loved one buried in. So the things we actually went through, that is the bit of me. But the things everybody else went through, they all have their different stories. So we want this week to bring together all those stories, all those people that are still affected. We have a lot of people that are still depressed. So we want to create that community again where we all sit with each other and try to share the feelings that we actually have about what affected us during this time. It's not going to be an easy week for us, but we want to make it as interesting for everybody as possible. So we've put a number of programs. We've put blood donation, we've put immunization programs, we've put aerobics, we have a marathon we've organized, we have a COVID walk we've organized. Then on Sunday, the 19th, we crown it all with the main service, memorial service and Thanksgiving service. And of course, our chief guest is going to be the ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, Matthias Schauer. And we're just very grateful that after hearing about this program, he felt it is important for him to be part of us. And definitely, he also lost a colleague. So we are looking at everybody that was affected in one way or the other. Please come and be with us. Come and share with us. My story could be a closure for you. Your story could be a closure for me. And whatever affected us within this time, we can actually try to overcome it when we are all together as a group. So we are waiting to see you then, and we are hoping that it is a memorable time for all of us. Thank you so much.